What's up, friends? I cannot wait to share this recipe with you. This is my grandma's carrot cake recipe. So you know it's old-fashioned, it is tried and true, and it is delicious. It has crushed pineapple and raisins and carrots and cinnamon and allspice. It is absolutely incredible. It has a ton of 5-star reviews on my site, momsdinner.com, and then it is topped with a layer of cream cheese buttercream icing that is so balanced in flavor. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get started. This is carrot cake. So the first ingredient we need are carrots. You're gonna need about 4 or 5 carrots. In the end, you need 2 cups of shredded carrots to go into the cake batter. So I'm gonna take these carrots, I've got them nice and washed up, I've got them trimmed. I am actually gonna try and use this little shredder to do carrots. Usually I use a box grater on the fine grating side, but I've got my fine grater in here. We're gonna give it a try and see if it works. This is a great new kitchen tool that I love using, especially for cheese, because I hate shredding cheese. It works perfect. I will link this little handy dandy tool down in the description box if you also hate shredding cheese and carrots. Wow. Now it's totally not necessary to drain excess liquid out of your carrots. Mine were just crazy juicy this day. So I did drain a little bit of the excess juice from my carrots. Now you're going to cream together 2 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of vegetable oil, and 4 eggs. Now we're going to sift together the dry ingredients, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1/8 teaspoon of allspice. I sifted that together and I sifted it onto a piece of parchment paper. This is one of my favorite kitchen tips. You can then use that parchment paper as like a little funnel to funnel everything into that wet batter. Now we're gonna stir in those 2 cups of shredded carrots, 8 ounces of drained crushed pineapple, and then 1/2 cup of chopped pecans and 1/2 cup of raisins. Just stir that together until it's totally blended. All right, the batter is done. I've got my oven preheated to 350, and I'm going to use a 9x13 pan for this. Your other option is to do a layer cake, and you can do 3 8-inch rounds, and then you get a nice layer cake with a little bit of height to it, really nice. So I'm gonna spray this with a little nonstick spray and pour this batter in here. With the 9x13, we're gonna bake this for about 45 minutes until it is totally set and golden and the middle is set up. If you're baking in 3 8-inch rounds, then you want to bake those for about 30 to 35 minutes. Now it's time to make that frosting. We're gonna make a buttercream cream cheese icing that is made with 4 ingredients. You just need a block of full-fat cream cheese, a stick of salted butter, a little vanilla, and 3.5 cups of powdered sugar. Make sure your butter and your cream cheese are at room temperature. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a lumpy frosting. So let's go ahead and make this. If your cream cheese and butter are not quite at room temperature, one of my favorite tricks is to cut it up into smaller cubes and lay it out. It will be softened really quickly. And if you need it even faster, cut it up into cubes and then fill, like, say, a glass bowl or a metal bowl with really hot water. Dump that water out and then dome it over the cream cheese or the butter, and that heat will circulate and soften up your cream cheese or butter really quick. All right, I don't think that I've ever made this buttercream using a hand mixer. I usually use my stand mixer, and that got a little difficult there in the middle. Usually my stand mixer just like works through it and it's perfect, but if you have a stand mixer, get it out. If you don't, use the hand mixer, but you're gonna have to hold on tight. It gets a little tricky there in the middle. So good, it is thick. It is just perfect. It's not overly cream cheesy, just really good flavor. Oh my God, that's perfect. So we're gonna wait for the cake to finish baking. We're gonna let it cool for quite a while, and then we're gonna frost it. Ooh, all right, our cake is hot out of the blah, blah, blah. Our cake is hot out of the oven, and we have to let it totally cool. I mean, completely cool. If you put the frosting on a warm cake, the frosting will literally melt down to the sides because this is butter and cream cheese. So I'm gonna let this totally cool, and then we're gonna frost it. All right, I'm back. Ran carpool, went to a swim meet, cake is cooled. So let's go ahead and frost this baby. I'm gonna do this in 2 parts. I like to frost this cake using a crumb layer and then a pretty layer. So what the crumb layer is because sometimes the top of this cake can be kind of like moist a little bit tender. So I'm gonna do a layer where it's like, it doesn't matter if some of the crumbs of the cake get in the frosting. And I always like to use an offset spatula. There we go, see? Some of it already pulled up just a little bit. I like to use an offset spatula to frost in a 9x13 pan because it just makes it a lot easier. So we're gonna use maybe half of the frosting for the crumb layer. And yep, see there, it's totally pulling up. You'll see here. I do this in my banana cake recipe as well. If that video is published, I will link it up here for you. Now, if you like a heavily frosted carrot cake, you may want to double the frosting recipe. I find that 1 is plenty for this. If you're building a layer cake, you will definitely want to double the frosting recipe so that it covers the whole cake. Now let's go in for the pretty layer. And I'm gonna do half there and part down there. So this layer, we're gonna try and keep totally free of crumbs. Let's see if we can do it. We didn't get the top layer totally crumb free, but that's fine. It'll still be absolutely delicious. And if you do get a lot of crumbs in that top layer, you could also take a little cinnamon and sprinkle it over top. Nobody will know what's cinnamon and what's crumbs. So I really hope that you try my grandma's carrot cake in your kitchen and it helps you feel like a success. Join me next Tuesday for another recipe video of something you can make in your kitchen. I hope that you cannot hear my dog barking upstairs and the kids yelling at the dog. It's been one of those days. All right, until next week, have a wonderful week ahead. See ya.